Hey guys, Tony Maritato here, licensed physical therapist. Now I know this isn't the most exciting kind of video. This is a video talking about research, but for those of you who are struggling, who are frustrated by the different goniometric measurements that you might be seeing, I want to explain to you the clinical research that says, you know what? Goniometry isn't an exact science. In fact, even for myself, where I take pride in my ability to measure range of motion around a knee following a total knee replacement, I could easily be off by 5 degrees up or down, which is a 10-degree swing on any given session. So when you're looking at 3-degree differences, 2-degree differences in flexion or extension, that is well within the margin of error. And I would tell you that it could just be the difference between measuring in the morning or in the afternoon. It could be the difference between measuring before you're warmed up or after. It could be the difference between having a good day and a bad day. Your measurements are going to swing drastically when we're looking at using a goniometer. So if you've had a total knee replacement and you want to look at some of the clinical studies that discuss how accurate or inaccurate measurements are and different kinds of goniometric devices, keep watching. I'm going to show you some stuff. So behind me on the screen is the clinical research that I'm referencing for this particular talk. And a couple examples that I want to start with. This is referred to as a short arm goniometer. And so when we're trying to measure a knee range of motion, in this case knee flexion, what we're trying to do is we're trying to find that bony bump on the outside of your hip where your pocket would be. Like if you were putting your hand into your pocket where your palm would be, that's called the greater trochanter, and that is the bony kind of protuberance that we use as a guide when we're setting up the upper part of the measurement. And then the lower part is down on the outside of the lateral ankle. That is called your lateral malleolus. So those two, in fact, let me do this. I'm going to show you a graphic measuring knee flexion with a goniometer. So there is a picture I usually use when I'm teaching students. This picture right here. So right above me, you can see there's that black dot on the lateral malleolus. There's the black dot on the greater trochanter. Now you're probably not laying on your stomach like you see here, but you can see some of these other pictures. And so what's typically happening is the therapist is trying to use their eyes to gauge where the arms are from the device and how they cross those bony protuberances, and then trying to identify the center of motion at the knee joint itself. And so it's a very inexact science, and there are different kinds of goniometers. Some are better than others. So jumping back over here, this is called a short arm. This is one of the least accurate. Then when we look at this picture right here, this is the setup for this study. Now, keep in mind that this study was done on healthy individuals who have not had a total knee replacement and have nothing wrong with their knee. There have been other studies done on individuals who have had knee replacements, and the measurements were even more inaccurate. So this is probably the device that's most common in most outpatient clinics, is a long arm goniometer. But even with this, you can still see, if I was to draw a line through the femur, through the fibula, these devices are not long enough to actually line up with the bony landmarks. So the therapist still has to use some level of estimation in it. And when you're looking at the difference between 1, 3, 5 degrees, it is a very slim difference between those. So I don't want you to stress out about it. I've used in my clinic laser light devices similar to something like this. You can create them. I might actually have a video on the channel showing how I did it. I just used a laser level that I purchased at Home Depot. I secured it to the goniometer device itself, one on either movable arm, and it was really, really effective for creating a line that went the full length of the leg. And in this particular study, it's probably a study sponsored by this device company. Certainly I'm not marketing or recommending this, but this device actually was the most accurate of the devices that were used in this study. But to show you some of the outcomes, basically the short arm goniometer was about 14.23 degrees off. So you can estimate that to 14 degrees. The long arm goniometer, which is what they're probably using, I know that's what I use mostly in my clinics, about 10 degrees off in either direction. We've got the halo digital goniometer, which is about 6 degrees off with repeated measurements. So my whole point in sharing this, and I am not a researcher, I'm the first one to tell you that, but I talk to patients who are frustrated every single day because the measurements aren't improving, or they have a bad day and the measurements go back. But I literally try not to measure range of motion every single day. I try to focus on function. Can you get up and down from the commode? Can you move in bed? Can you scoot? Can you roll? Can you do the things that you want to do? Can you do the things that you had the total knee replacement in order to do? That's the stuff we want to focus on. Yes, we want a general idea if range of motion is improving. And I've got some other videos on the channel showing how I prefer to use a tape measure or other kind of more objective ways to measure improvement. It's not going to measure degrees, but it's going to measure improvement in function. And so I'll link those other videos, but bottom line is be patient with yourself. Give yourself the courtesy that you would probably give somebody else who had the procedure that you just had, because it's not a linear progression. You're not going to improve the same amount every single day, every single week, every single month. You're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days, you're going to take 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and we need to have the patience within ourselves to allow that to happen. So guys, I hope that was helpful. I hope that answered some questions. And if you have other specific questions, please post them in the comments below this video, and I'll catch you on my next video.